I've been an astrologer for more than 50 years, and I've only lived as an astrologer. I didn't have other careers, so I've done all kinds of different stores, publishing books, different teaching classes, consulting. I've done all different sides of astrology and grown in it. So, and I've taught steadily over all these times, over at least 40 years. So 45. So this has secured my foundation, and every time I go with this, I learn something new. So here, when we look at, here we got Cancer at the bottom, tropical Cancer, tropical Leo, tropical Virgo. We've got the summer. And there's the constellations of twins over Cancer, so the sensitive, moody Cancers might have be double thinking things a lot, or like they just have a twin element coming in on top of it. And the tropical Leos might have a sensitivity. The first half anyways might have the crabby sensitivity of the crab coming in there. And the last half of Leo will have the Leo within it. And then tropical Virgo will still have the Leo. Now, there's something interesting with this drawing. You see here, this is why in 1950, Leo, the Regulus, the heart of the lion, the ruling star in the constellation of the lion, is about 29 degrees of tropical Leo. Well, it's not. It's now in Virgo. This has moved forward, so it's now in the Virgo. It changed in there's some debate about it. I got from when I think I first heard about September 11, 2011. Then the computer program say November 28th, 2011, and then some other programs say in January, February of 2012. So when the star moved into that 1 degree. So you're dealing with a 25,000-year cycle, and a month isn't a big differentiation. It's just a slight tweak on which equation you're using or how you're calculating it. But by 2012, the heart of the lion left Leo and went into Virgo. It's interesting that this heart of the lion going right over this point was going over the ascendant of Donald Trump just as he was deciding to run for president and winning, and with Regulus right on his ascendant there. We'll get to that. So, but they're just little things. These are useful information. We're going to deal with individual stars. We're going to go into this. I'm just showing you the 3 constellations, so you see the different the constellations, the sidereal, zodiac, the tropical, so you can have some bearings on where you are with it. And you don't have to change what you know because someone is in a sidereal says, oh, you're this sign. You can listen. You can see they're adding on extra information that might be there, but it's going to be there on another frequency, not on your basic character things. Ongoing debates. Now, okay, here we got the fall, Libra, Scorpio, Sag. So you can see the tropical Libra, sidereal Virgo, and there's the autumnal equinox, just cutting out the last part of, it's just cutting through the head of the Virgin. But it's all in the sidereal Virgo, and there's Spica, one of the brighter stars right there, the ruling star of the Virgin, and it's about 23 degrees Libra. I was born with my sun right there on the ecliptic conjuncting that Spica. In Libra, in the sidereal is all you're a Virgo, you know, so like it's both. Like, but the signs, the daylight increase next year, that's solid in its own. We just started from our bodies, our life, our backyard, our neighborhood, our country, our world, and went out. Here we're looking from the space stars in, and that's another type. Take it as a myth or as a story, and there's things to be learned from it. You can see where exactly they overlap. So those little graphs I went over the dates and times, you can see them here. And the small Libra scales being over Libra. Then you have Scorpio, the whole constellation of Scorpio is in tropical Sagittarius. That's another interesting point. The heart of the Scorpion, Antares, supposedly the most evil and sarcastic and malevolent star in the sky. It's got a reddish rim. It looks pretty bright and red, kind of like Mars, but more piercing. That's at about 11 degrees of Sagittarius. So this sarcasm or sharpness is in Sagittarius now, have this biting comment side. It's no longer in, it's Libra that's watching over the Scorpios, the scales watching over the Scorpios is sort of in balance, but that the Scorpion itself is in the opinionated Sagittarius and has tendency to overreact or be perhaps a little too negative or angry or judgmental from that star. So as you watch the star go through the degrees, it affects individual degrees in your chart. So degrees, we're going to get to that in this level too. So we got to expand from looking at the zodiac to looking at subdivisions of each sign of zodiac to looking at the degrees within the sign of zodiac. We're going to see these factors coming in. How are we doing for time? Okay, good. And here's the last, the tropical Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces on the bottom. You can see them, and sidereal Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius. You can see where they are. And these two are like a slide, they slide to each other. So as the procession moves along, the procession moves to the right, backwards against the signs, and the zodiac and the constellations moves to the right, counterclockwise through the zodiac. Okay, so here you can see the Archer being over Capricorn and sidereal Sagittarius. And then you can see the Goat in Capricorn being over in Aquarius, but also you see where the water bearer is standing on the Goat. Like it's the two of them are both together at some point here, and how it runs into the tropical sign of Pisces, where the water bearer is pouring the water. It's where the Pisces is. Then the fish constellation of the fish start coming in. Yeah, so you're just adding, these are add-ons, or adding extra categories on top of the zodiac to your chart. We're not going to go to it extensively. If you want to follow it and you want to get inspired by it, read Alice Bailey's The Labors of Hercules. There's other books about the Labors of Hercules, but they're much more cerebral and not as inspiring. Whereas Bailey's really has mystical insight behind it, and it's really well written, and it's a jump to another layer of logic and perceiving in a chart. Okay, now here is these new charts. One on the left is a northern hemisphere chart. The one on the right is a southern hemisphere chart. So you look at them, at first it doesn't look any different, but you start to see, when you look at it, see on the left, the northern one, you see the Virgin right there, and on the right-hand chart, you see the Virgins right beside it. It's like if you took two pages and put them back to back, or one page, you look at one side and the other side. That's like the northern and southern hemisphere chart. If you divide the page and open them up like that, they would look like this. So the tropical zodiac that we use, the signs of the zodiac, moves counterclockwise and moves around. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, they move around like that and go through the constellations. But when you take the other side of the page and you look at it, you're seeing the tropical zodiac in the southern hemisphere is moving the opposite direction, and it's moving clockwise around the zodiac. But where you have the constellation of Virgo, in the northern hemisphere you have Libra, in the southern hemisphere is Aries. So if you see the southern hemisphere, Aries has Virgo over top of it, whereas the northern hemisphere Aries has Pisces over top of it. So it makes the northern hemisphere Aries, if they're redneck cowboys, they're kind of more dreamy or romantic or gullible, whereas the Aries in the southern hemisphere down in Australia and the pampas of Brazil and Argentina, you have really Virgo Aries, tougher cowboys. So like this, I just make these associations and play with them. On this little level, I can sort of see in associations and how it would change over time. Like when we had the Second World War, Pluto was in Leo and Saturn was in Leo. There's a lot of planets all in the I, me signs going over Europe and North America. The Second World War was mostly in the northern hemisphere. Went down a little bit to the southern, but in the southern hemisphere, it was in Aquarius, and it was in Aquarius, and in the more social sense, it was a different factor. So but this shows the alignment of the northern hemisphere. Just imagine them back to back, and then they just open up, and you're seeing the two beside each other. So the constellations are set where they are. You're seeing how that splits, and then you see how the signs are going around it. And inside of this, the sidereal signs are going for it. Now, on this video, I'm just going to take a second to put each of these up. This is the southern hemisphere, the break of the southern hemisphere, tropical zodiac, and sidereal signs. So I'm not going to read them. You can see each of the degrees there, again, 1970 and 1950. And then there's the twilight zones or empties of free area where they would be, and then there's the overlap spaces of the constellations to the zodiac. And here we're going to be doing a whole class on the southern hemisphere, but I just wanted to show it to you a bit here. I've taken the sidereal out, but wherever there's a tropical, here the tropical northern hemisphere is on top, and there's tropical southern hemisphere on the bottom. So you see the tropical Libra on the top, Scorpio and Sag on the top. You see tropical Aries. I always put the SH for the southern hemisphere now. Tropical Aries, tropical Taurus, tropical Gemini. So the northern hemisphere Libra has the Virgin over top of it, within the southern hemisphere Aries has the Virgin over top. Northern hemisphere Scorpio has the scales, whereas the southern hemisphere Taurus has the scales. Northern hemisphere Sagittarius has the Scorpion. The southern hemisphere Gemini has the Sagittarius, has the Scorpion. And so this is the distinction, like, why this is the appeal of using the sidereal zodiac. You don't have to deal with the signs, and you don't have to change the zodiac for north and south, but really you change the zodiac, but they're in different signs. The constellations are different, they're in opposite signs, they affect differently. It balances, like the Archer is overhead northern hemisphere Capricorn, but it's overhead southern hemisphere Cancer. There's a balance in that, but its presence has that double form. The Goat and the Water Bearer are watching over northern hemisphere Aquarius, but they're watching over the southern hemisphere Leo. So is it possible the southern hemisphere Leos would be more serious and more Saturn or Goat-like or Saturn-like than the southern hemisphere Leos, than the northern hemisphere Leos? We'd have to compare them to see and check it. So these are all abundant areas for researchers. Check and see. Tropical southern hemisphere Virgo, northern hemisphere Pisces that has the Water Bearer and part of Pisces in it.